Welcome to the A Creative channel. I like to spend our time creating cool things, and I've been away because we've been busy. And as you can see, I'm working on a studio. I'm going to delve into this more a little later and do a studio tour of everything we've created, not only for YouTube but mainly for this. And another thing I've been busy with is perfecting the sculpts and the 3D prints ready for the metal pulls that we're about to do. But this video is mainly about this guy here. So, and I sculpted him in ZBrush and preparing him for 3D printing and getting him ready for the metal pull. So stick with me and watch how I did it. So I just got some music playing in the background because I'm only going to talk when necessary. The most important part about doing something, especially when you've never sculpted something like this before, and I have never sculpted a bird before. I have drawn many birds before. I've drawn a few eagles, but this is the first time I've ever sculpted. So, reference. Make sure you find good reference, and turn a lot of if the color reference, turn it a lot of black and white. So I'm going to talk throughout this and let the music play, and just let the sculpt unfold itself, and I'll only talk when necessary. So right now, this is practically the blocking out stage, and it's probably the most important stage, is getting your silhouette correct, because all living things, whether human, a particular person, if you look at anyone and you black them out, so all you can see is an outline, you'll be able to tell who that person is just by the outline alone. Or you'll be able to tell it's what type of animal just with the silhouette alone. So the silhouette is very important, trying to capture the animal. So this is, at this stage, the block out, capturing those big details and getting that silhouette correct. I will spend the longest amount of time getting this correct before starting to move into details. So the two complications I had with sculpting this was the feathers and getting it ready for 3D printing, and I'll explain that as I progress through it. So it's probably what I spent the majority of time correcting and getting right. So when it comes to the wings and the feathers, I wasn't able to capture all of the process of the wings. Unfortunately, I lost that as I had too many meshes, but I've caught most of it, and I'll explain that as we get to it. So another good technique I find is mirroring. So I can work on one side of the eagle, and then to save myself time and having to work on both sides, I just mirror him across, and that's only if I haven't got the correct axis, x-axis mirror sculpting on. So I find a very good tip is to always constantly rotate around your model, pull in and out, not frequently because it'll slow your sculpt down quite a lot, but make sure you're always stepping back and having a look. You can see something weird happening with the eagle here. That is called a micro mesh, and it was me experimenting on the feathers and the best way to get those feathers out. So because he is going to be 3D printed and poured, probably a few different sizes, large, medium, and a small size. I wanted to make sure the details were good at a larger size, and I knew that at a smaller size it wouldn't matter too much, because as you shrink this thing down, the lesser the details you will see. So, but I definitely wanted to make sure I captured as many details. So I used a combination of different approaches with this mesh. The micro mesh, which is a projection of individual or multi-individual meshes that you create, was the way I went about the body. The head mainly I went with sculpting directly into it like clay. It was probably the best way to go about it. trying to do an insert mesh brush with 3D printing is quite messy, and it took a lot of time to repair, fix, and make that work for it to 3D print. So, but the results I was very happy with, as you will see when it comes to the feathers on the wing. But definitely you're going to get a lot less manifold issues in 3D printing. And manifold literally means that your mesh is, you know, there's open, you know, problems with your mesh where meshes intertwine and interlocking into each other, and triangles are, you know, passing through one another. These things will all cause problems with your 3D print, and the 3D printer will pick it up. The software, anyway, to slice it will pick up those issues. So you have to pardon me, I've been working really hard and I'm pretty tired because I'm also running a business on the side, as well as starting up this YouTube thing and all the sculpting and getting this creative investments happening. So I'm hoping to, now that the studio is built and finished nearly, there's still a little bit of work left to go on there. Here we go, you can see me now doing an insert brush inside all those areas, which gave me the best results for the body feathers, and I was pretty pleased on how that went. I might have lost some of that detail, and there you can see the feathers, and see this is an insert brush. I'm going to do a whole video on making an insert brush. Like I said, I lost some of the process, but you can see in the beginning how I actually did the feathers through there. It's just inserting this brush, moving it where I want to, and then now I'm working on the silhouette of the wings. So the wings are a very important part of this to capture that detail. And you can see I'm now starting to put individual feathers in and sculpt all that detail in, which came out in the 3D print quite nice, as you'll see in the end. I was very pleased with it. So, but like I said, this was definitely not the cleanest way to create a 3D, you know, a mesh for 3D printing. It definitely required a lot of work to get it to work in 3D print, to be able to 3D print it. So, but once I got over those hurdles, I learnt a lot, and that's what this process is about. You know, is learning a lot and improving upon each sculpt. And you know, you can see it, and you can see the work that you put into it. So now I'm putting really fine detail feathers. You can see it's not moving too much there, so I'm putting some full details into those areas. Starting there, because after you put insert brushes, it kind of changes the shape of the wings. So I'm trying to, you know, reposition that silhouette of the wings. So I spent a lot of hours. Excuse me. I spent a lot of hours looking at the anatomy of the wing of birds, and specifically the eagle. There's a lot of great stuff online. So encourage anyone wanting to take a project on this, just to make sure you have the reference and you know, do a little bit of study on the anatomy. So I'm still here, you know, putting very fine detail in. You might not be able to see it on this, but putting a lot of the fine feathers into this. So that's pretty much it. Here's a turntable. The base is in silver because that's what he's going to be turned into. And he came out of the 3D print pretty good. I was very happy. The first print wasn't as successful. I was going to include a shot of this because of the feather situation. it had nearly 9,000 supports. It was ridiculous. I just wanted to print it to see if it would work. I probably shouldn't have done it. It's a waste of time. But this one, the whole thing had 200 supports for the base and the eagle. When I fixed up and cleaned up the feathers and having it ready for 3D print, and the results were fabulous. I haven't got a photo of the complete, sanded and smoothed out eagle, so I'm still in the process of cleaning him up. But if I waited any longer, I'll never get a video out. So yeah, this is where we're at. So I've kind of, there's a few different ways to remove these supports, and some people like to, kind of cure it and then move the supports. I think it's best a little less cleanup work. A little less cleanup work while it's still wet like this, and then you can actually go through and you can clean up a lot of those little knobs and knocks and stuff that come from the supports that being on it. So I find it's definitely the best way to go. So here I am, and now I pretty much want to join the parts together, because this is kind of my own personal trial copy just to see how it turned out. And yeah, I was pretty damn happy. So I'm kind of using resin here to stick on the eagle to the base and the ribbon to the eagle. So I was so happy with the details that came out, the feathers, the letterings, creative investment, 99 fine silver is, is perfect clarity there. So thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.